season has just been like probably the best anyone could ask for. Especially as a senior, this season is the great one.
It's been pretty monumental for us. I mean, really, we never have been this good.
Playing for the school this year is good because the whole team, we all connected really good. We're all good friends. We talk good. We all have a good relationship, and everyone on this team is a good player.
I think we all have a lot of talent, and we all just put it together, and we're all pretty friendly on the field, on and off the field. And I just think we finally clicked and know we're good, and we know what we can do.
I think that we finally all just realized what we're capable of. Obviously, with the help of our coaching, our coaching staff is probably the best coaching staff I've ever seen. So I think that's a big part of it.
I think it's a combination of talent, and a lot of us are putting in a lot of work, a lot of extra time. We're all trying to do the best for each other.
It feels great because other sports we've kind of had not so good results, so it feels really good for us to just be able to win.
If we can keep our energy up, I think that we're just going to keep winning.
I saw the signs one day around Estacada for a school bus driver, and I like to drive. I'd never tried anything like that before. I thought I'd give it a shot, and they hired me, and it's been 7 months.
Well, the first question I was asked by the guy that trained me was, "Why are you doing this?" in that tone. And I said, "Because I love kids." He said, "That's the best answer." And so if there's somebody that loves kids, this is a great job to express that love to them and bring some stability and safety into their lives, because you got 10 kids, you've got 10 different environments that are in that crowd that you don't have any clue what their environment is, but you know the environment you can give them in the time of transporting them to and from school.
We work with everybody that comes in. We don't expect you to know how to pre-trip a bus when you come. We don't expect you to know what all the different terminology is, but we work with you until you're confident that you can pass the test, and we're committed to getting you there. And so I don't want people to feel apprehensive about learning how to pre-trip a bus or driving the bus, because we really take a lot of time to work with you and make you feel confident in driving that bus. It is a big bus, but we have wonderful mirrors on that bus.
You know, I've always said, if you love kids and you like to drive, this is the job. It's just the best. And Estacada is really good about taking care of their people. So it's the perfect place to be.
This season has just been probably the best anyone could ask for. Especially as a senior, this season is the great one.
It's been pretty monumental for us. I mean, really, we never have been this good.
Playing for the school this year is good because the whole team, we all connected really good. We're all good friends. We talk good. We all have a good relationship, and everyone on this team is a good player.
I think we all have a lot of talent, and we all just put it together, and we're all pretty friendly on the field, on and off the field. And I just think we finally clicked and know we're good, and we know what we can do.
I think that we finally all just realized what we're capable of. Obviously, with the help of our coaching, our coaching staff is probably the best coaching staff I've ever seen. So I think that's a big part of it.
I think it's a combination of talent, and a lot of us are putting in a lot of work, a a lot of extra time. We're all trying to do the best for each other.
It feels great because other sports we've kind of had not so good results, so it feels really good for us to just be able to win.
If we can keep our energy up, I think that we're just going to keep winning.
I saw the signs one day around Estacada for school bus driver, and I like to drive. I'd never tried anything like that before. I thought I'd give it a shot, and they hired me, and it's been 7 months.
Well, the first question I was asked by the guy that trained me was, why are you doing this? In that tone. And I said, because I love kids. He said, that's the best answer. And so if there's somebody that loves kids, this is a great job to express that love to them and bring some stability and safety into their lives, because you got 10 kids, you've got 10 different environments that are in that crowd that you don't have any clue what their environment is, but you know the environment you can give them in the time of transporting them to and from school.
We work with everybody that comes in. We don't expect you to know how to pre-drip a bus when you come. We don't expect you to know what all the different terminology is, but we work with you until you're confident that you can pass the test, and we're committed to getting you there. And so I don't want people to feel like apprehensive about learning how to pre-trip a bus or driving the bus, because we really take a lot of time to work with you and make you feel confident in driving that bus. It is a big bus, but we have wonderful mirrors on that bus.
You know, I've always said, if you love kids and you like to drive, this is the job. It's just the best. And Estacada is really good about taking care of their people. And so it's the perfect place to be.
This season has just been like probably the best anyone could ask for. As of especially as a senior, this season is the great one.
It's been pretty monumental for us. I mean, really, we never have been this good.
Playing for the school this year is good because the whole team, we all connected really good. We're all good friends. We talk good. We all have a good relationship, and everyone on this team is a good player.
I think we all have a lot of talent, and we all just put it together, and we're all pretty friendly on the field, on and off the field. And I just think we finally clicked and know we're good, and we know what we can do.
I think that we finally all just realized what we're capable of. Obviously, with the help of our coaching, our coaching staff is probably the best coaching staff I've ever seen. So I think that's a big part of it.
I think it's a combination of talent, and a lot of us are putting in a lot of work, a lot of extra time. We're all trying to do the best for each other.
It feels great because other sports we've kind of had not so good results, so it feels really good for us to just be able to win.
If we can keep our energy up, I think that we're just going to keep winning.
To order the Board of Directors meeting for May 12, 2022. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Souza. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Denise, can we get a roll call, please?
Director Walper,
Here.
Director Martinez?
Here.
Director Berman?
Here.
Director Johnston?
Here.
Director Wheeler?
Here.
Vice Chair Shibahara?
Here.
Chair Rydell?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, Denise, was the meeting properly notified?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Okay, on to adoption of the agenda.
Here I know, I move to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Carries.
All right. On to Board of Directors reports, and this time I will not forget Vice Chair Shibahara, or skipped her like I did 2 months ago. I skipped, I came back to you, but let's start down at that end with Director
I have
Walker.
nothing tonight.
Nothing, all right. Director Berman.
During our break, I walked the halls a little bit and saw a lot of activity. Was it incoming freshman night, it looks like? A lot more people than I expected to see, so that's exciting. Lots of clubs and sports, but maybe we'll hear more about that later. And we got district track championships starting tomorrow and Saturday, and hopefully we'll get some kids down at U of O the following weekend for state championships. Looks like we will, so that's all I've got.
Thank you. Director Wheeler.
There was a film crew in a 5th grade class at Clarksville Elementary today, and I don't know exactly what it was for. I think I was notified about it, but I can't remember. It's some out of state, and Odie could not miss the class, so we're really excited about it in the Wheeler House, and I'm excited to see the publication that it comes out of. I'm going to give a stadium update later. Do you want help with that, or do you want me to do something now?
It's up to you.
Stadium update now. Let's do that. It's slow. It's wet. And we are waiting for a weather window to move forward with things. There are as many things that we can get done without decent weather going on right now, including but not limited to moving some conduit for internet, water lines, tore out some sidewalks, and kind of looks like a bomb went off out there, but it didn't. We're just waiting for the weather to kind of come around and help us clear some stuff off. And then we will be moving forward with the Mass X. Mike, I'm sure you're going to give a little bit more of a thorough update than that. Youth baseball is going well. It's unbelievable how many kids are out practicing baseball on a field that has 3 different teams trying to coordinate pieces of grass because the fields are too wet. Is interesting, but fun at the same time. So, and from what I've heard, there's several teams that are doing pretty outstanding this year. So, have anything else?
All right. Thank you, Director Wheeler. Vice Chair Shibahara.
Well, it'll be pretty brief. So for the high school as well, district tennis for boys and girls was happening this week, and it was fun because we actually hosted the district tennis here yesterday for the boys. Yes, I've heard a lot of requests for updates to our facilities in regards to tennis someday, so we'll have to see where that falls in our future plans. But anyway, all the kids did great and are representing well, and it seems like some have actually made it on to state, and there's consolation rounds tomorrow. Some of those are happening in Salem. And I just want to commend all of the teachers and staff for all the extra stuff they do for our kids. I mean, my kids are in choir, and they're preparing for spring fling, and my kids are in theater, and there's induction society, and there's National Honor Society, and there's volunteer activities, and it's just really great to see so many opportunities and so many kids getting involved, and all the Spirit Week and everything, and so just want to say thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Director Martinez.
No updates.
None. Director Johnston.
I wanted to call out the high school softball team, 7th in the state right now. It's amazing. I think group of very talented girls that are playing. And it's I think the program overall is growing. I think there's 27 or 28 total kids that are on that program. So congrats to that group. Youth baseball is going well. There are several teams that are over 500, which is great for us. I unfortunately had to cancel our first tournament of the year because of the weather, which is the first time that I think that's been done in 5 or 6 years. So that was unfortunate. We have another tournament this weekend. Our first full enrolled tournament for softball, 3rd through 8th grade teams, and there are 28 teams coming to play softball, and we potentially will have to cancel if the weather doesn't play with us nicely. Lastly, I would want to also echo, the teachers have been working really hard. They're getting through assessments. They're getting the kids, to work on those standards that they need to get through the end of this year. They've been doing a great job. I shared something with the board specifically from a math teacher at the middle school who hand-did some May Day cards and sent them out to all the teachers. And so, I sent them out to all students. So we as parents appreciate that extra effort that the teachers are giving in Parent Square, sending stuff home. So thank you, teachers, for what you're doing.
Great, thank you. I'll echo those sentiments as well. I won't restate them all. High school baseball has a potential play-in. We'll see where the standings land. They had a toughly contested game at Madras this afternoon, lost by 1 run, so it's a bummer. But have a chance to potentially move on. State solo ensemble contest was 3 weeks ago now, of which we had 2 participants, which was awesome to see coming out of Estacada. So 1 vocal and 1 instrumental. 4 weeks ago now was Disney. So I think it's 4 weeks this weekend. So for those of you who don't know, or those of you that do, Mr. Frunk, over the years has taken high school choir and band to Disneyland every couple years. This was his 18th trip. And had the opportunity to chaperone that along with Vice Chair Shibahara and a whole slew of parents, which was nice to see. Extremely well put together. 53 students that went. And just to give you, again, a little context to it, landed on Saturday morning, drove straight to a music festival at one church. The band performed, loaded up, went to another venue, the choir performed, loaded up, and then went to fun activities for the afternoon on Saturday. Sunday, both groups performed in Disneyland, and then had some free time that afternoon. And then Monday, each group independently were able to go into a Disney recording studio, work with their professional musicians, would actually give them the music on the spot, teach them the music, record the music, and then play that music with the actual Disney movie that it's from. So they got to see and feel it. It was really, really, really cool. So
not everybody got to experience.
Not everybody did. There was only 2 chaperones that got to get into that one. I did not get into the band one though, just the choir one. So it was just awesome. So huge accolades to Mr. Frunk and the whole music department and administrators and parents for keeping that alive. And when you've got a large number of kids who've never been out of Oregon, never been on an airplane, never been to Disneyland, great opportunity. So it was a lot of fun. I think I'll stop there.
And Ken and Leah are really good at getting fast passes and Disney they tap them.
They're the ones to go
good
to.
resources.
We are Disney family, so yes.
That's so.
Thank you. All right. So let's move on to district reports. So communications report from Maggie Kelly. I didn't forget anybody this time, right?
All right, good evening, board. So for my communications report, I'll just start with, again, our website transition is still in progress and moving forward nicely. We got a first mock-up of our new district homepage. It's more modern, more easy to navigate. We also were able to get into the back end to start seeing what the editing process would look like and training on it so that we can train the employees that work with the website. I wanted to provide just a little bit of data. So I created a page, just a quick, simple page in both our current website and that website, and I timed myself on both. And it took 18% less time on a platform I was completely unfamiliar with to construct a whole web page. So I really think we'll be saving some time, some labor, and some money on this new website, especially as people in the buildings get into it and just have an easier process. So very happy with what we're seeing so far on that. We're working on graduation preparation already. It's just a big one, especially with a location change. We just want to make sure we're well prepared in terms of a live stream, taking photos, and just documenting it as professionally as possible, just to make it a really memorable experience for our seniors. So that is ongoing as well. We are continuing updates on the construction progress. We're really excited to get out there soon with drones once the weather cooperates and just get some more footage of the turf field, and we're also updating the community on the gym progress as well. And then we have some new recruitment efforts. We just know there are going to be retirements and relocations over the summer, as always, particularly We anticipate some retirements in the transportation department. We know that that's a hard-to-hire area. So we're doing something new. We contacted Sandy Cinema, and we're going to run some ads there. It's actually really affordable to have our ads in front of every single movie, so we're excited to try that. And then just some new mailers and those type of things, really trying to hit those retirement communities or parents of young children or children that are transitioning back into school. So we're working on that and excited to see the data on how that works out. Some of our completed projects is our surveys closed, including our top workplaces survey. We get our top workplaces results over the summer, and we get to announce in fall, so it is a long waiting process, but we had good participation in that top workplaces survey. So I do believe we could potentially qualify for top workplaces again 3 years in a row, which would really set us apart from any other top workplace. Having a long stretch is just very unheard of. And then, as I said, initial graduation communication, communicating that location change. We did some Facebook Live events, and we got fairly good participation in those, and just making sure our community knows that this is going to be a special event. I'm sure Principal Hudson will talk more about graduation later. And then lastly, media coverage. We've had actually 11 local news articles updated from when I wrote this, 11 local newspaper articles and 1 TV news segment. I believe it was K2 News, so just making sure we're getting out there in the community and the broader region as well and telling our story. And then lastly, I wanted to just share again some information that we got from our community a while back, last time we polled. As I'm talking about some of these things, I just thought it was a good refresher. Top news sources from our community, 37% is local TV news, which is why we court the TV news so much. And then if you look down at that fourth source, the fourth source is our district website, which it's in the top 5. And so I do think it's worth investing the time in to update that, because our community, not just our families, but our broader community, is relying on that to get information. And I want it to be up to date and easy for them to navigate to get that information. And then I also want to talk about our local newspaper. Our local newspaper is going through some transitions right now. Emily Lindstrand, our reporter for a long time, moved on to a different position. She is freelancing a little bit with the Estacada newspaper right now because they have not been able to fill the position. But it is a concern that we'll have to continue to work with them through to make sure that Estacada gets the coverage that it deserves. This is a growing community. And I do worry that we will just get Sandy reporters or Oregon City reporters that come out once in a while to cover our community. And I really think our community deserves more. And our community is telling us that they still really value the local newspaper. So we'll just work to be more aggressive and build relationships with whoever we have in the Estacada community following that transition. Any questions?
Can you freelance?
I would love to freelance. Kelly Hayes and I actually talked about, we said we would be willing to write articles, but I believe we have a bit of a bias when it comes to the school district.
It can be an opinion. It doesn't have to be a news article.
I will write opinion articles. I will do whatever we have to do to keep Estacada in the newspaper, because I think it's really important. But yeah, it's just going to be a process, and we're going to have to see where the newspaper takes it over time. But I do want the community to be aware of it, because I think they value the newspaper.
Okay. Anything
Okay.
else for Maggie? All right, thanks, Maggie. Next up, building facilities report. Mr. Ware.
Okay, good evening. For your operations report, I'd like to start off with some of the capital improvement projects that we have ongoing, as well as a kind of a completion to our generator project to recap where we're at. As we've mentioned, or we mentioned earlier, weather has been a challenge for our Buzz Randall Stadium Improvement Project. We have completed a new water line hookup, which was successful. We now have the final conduit and utility plan completed. And really what's next is that mass excavation. We were hopeful for late May, early June. Still kind of hopeful for that. Hopefully we can get to that point. And if we do, we're doing pretty well. We have the concrete treatment scheduled for early or mid-June into July, and there's some pre-work for scoreboard, goalposts, and flags. In July, we anticipate starting the final of the scoreboard, the lights, additional work would be flags, painting, some netting that we plan on doing, and additional security measures in the stadium. And then that final civil work will occur late July. Again, pending weather and pending unknowns with a completion in August. So again, we're running up to the schedule, but we have done what we can do during this process with the weather. And again, much appreciation to the local support that we've had from Director Wheeler, Director Berman, and others in the city. And so we're moving forward. Most of the big work in procurement is completed, so we no longer need to go through those phases, which is good. It speeds up the process. And now we're just patiently waiting. The gym floor, as you recall, we had an unfortunate situation with the gym floor flooding over spring break. The abatement is now completed as of today, and the company has removed all their equipment. Plumbing is next, and we plan on starting that this weekend. We have to shut down the water in the entire building for a period of time to be able to replace some of the plumbing in that gym. And again, it's critical that we do this right so we prevent another occurrence. The floor installation is scheduled for late May. We're running into some supply and issues and delivery. We do anticipate a midweek next week receiving the floor material, and then May 23rd to start that with the completion date well before the volleyball season. And then our generator project, if you recall, we had put this in our ESSER 3 funding. This project, the purpose of it, main purpose was to maintain continuity of services during a major power outage. So during our ice storm last year, we had power out for up to a week, some more longer. I think I was up to about 2 weeks without power. And so we wanted to mitigate that issue so we can maintain services to our students during those types of events, as well as maintain our food resources. We did have a large waste of food resources during that time. And so this generator is directly connected to the coolers at the high school and our MDF, which is our main hub for the internet and phone services. That is now complete, and we're ready to rock and roll if we ever had to use it. And now the fun stuff, the data stuff, because I'm kind of a data nerd. This one is very interesting. I wanted to share this with the board and the community. This is a historical trend of last 4 years of meals served to students in the district. The blue line is the meals served. So in 2018-19, just over 129,000 meals were served to our students. Jump up to 21-22, 181. And we saw a little bit of dip during COVID, as expected, because we didn't have as many students, and we had a different delivery method. What's very interesting and awesome to see is the rate. In 2018-19, just over $263,200 were reimbursed to the district. And you can see in 21-22, we're expecting a $675,000 reimbursement. That's a significant increase, obviously, and it's due to higher reimbursement rates from the feds due to COVID and some changes on the COVID in response to COVID. So free for all students get free meals. So again, more money back to the district, less negative balance from our historically negative balance department because of how we operate. And so that's, and again, going to contribute to the end fund balance and support further investments in other ways. This is from our IT department. Historically, our IT department, is a smaller department. And so what we have started looking at is our response time and resolutions time. Our SLA, our standard level agreement, if you will, is to respond to an initial request within 24 hours. On the right-hand side, you can see we're 99% successful in that expectation. On the left-hand side, our resolution time, so when a ticket comes in, we expect to resolve the issue within 7 days, and we are 94% successful. Pretty remarkable, with a department of 3 serving 1,800 students plus 250, 300 employees in a district with the amount of equipment and new devices that we're working with. So very, very cool and a big win to celebrate. And then finally, this is a PDSA report. PDSA is a Plan, Do, Study, Act. It's a continuous improvement activity. Our transportation department completed a PDSA late winter, early spring. Through rounding and through other plus deltas, we identified the referral system had some gaps, some system errors. Whether it was collaboration between the bus drivers and our administrators, supervisor and administrators, as well as just the system in general. The communication was not going two-way. And so after going through Plus Delta, we identified some major themes and essentially created a new referral system, and we're currently piloting it at this moment, which is 2 schools and a few drivers that helped develop the system. Right now, you can see we're in the progress, but the goal is to have this fine-tuned, make any adjustments, tweaks that we need to, and then come into the fall, have a new system ready to go to support our transportation department, support our students, and our administrators. Fun stuff. Any questions?
That money that comes from the federal government, what is that earmarked for, if we're getting that much more?
I will defer to Christina on that question.
That's for our food service costs, so that is great that they're doing, but we also have an increased amount of cost in getting food, and it is harder to get food. So that's part of it, but it pays for our cooks and our supplies for the food service.
But we have our cooks and we have our supplies budgeted, correct?
Yes,
So
but
this is in excess to that?
No, so for every single meal we serve, the government reimburses us a percentage per meal. And so no different than our transportation department, 70 cents on the dollar. It's something not 70 cents to the dollar, but it's like that. So during COVID, and the federal government said that all meals are free this year for all kids. And so we tally mark how many meals we serve. And even though, let's say, a sandwich costs us $5 to make, let's say, theoretically, then the government will reimburse us $2.50 back for that. So we collect that money, which is going to be about $675,000, and that goes into the pot, which is what we budget for the next year.
And correct me if I'm wrong as well, due to the changes during COVID where all students get free, right? That's the other part that has increased. So it's also, we're receiving less money from families that are paying for meals because we're receiving that money back on the other side. That's the number that's not on that graph. So that it looks like there's a huge windfall, but the increased cost is not there.
Exactly.
And then the reduced revenue is not there from families that aren't paying because they don't have to pay. So it's not as big of a windfall, cash windfall, as it looks like in that one graph.
And the offset is we generally, at the end of the year, do a transfer from the general fund to keep the nutrition service in it can't end with a negative balance. So if there is we would just keep that money in the general fund and not do that transfer.
Thank you.
Director Ware, congrats to the mighty 3 that get all the IT. What's the end size of that? Like, what's the number
What? I'm sorry?
of the tickets? And is that over the course of this year? Do you know what the end size, the number? You don't have to look it up now if you.
I don't have it.
I know it's a lot.
Yes.
I was just curious.
Off the top of my head, I don't have it.
Okay.
I do know that in terms of IT, our numbers are higher than they have historically been. For example, in September, I think we completed just over 650 work order tickets. Whereas the previous years, they were well under the 400s.
Yeah. That's
I'm
amazing.
sorry, I don't understand what you guys are talking about.
I asked they showed the percentage of resolved issues with computers.
Okay.
So I asked, they just showed a percentage, so I asked what the number of.
Oh,
how
okay.
many were there?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Over 600 a month's a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. For a team of mighty 3.
For 3.
They're very efficient.
Okay. Other questions for Mike? Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Mike.
And last but certainly not least, as we're all in finance and budget mode tonight, so we'll kick it back to Christina for finance report.
Thank you. Taking a look at the general fund for the month ending April 30th, you'll see here that we received just over $2 million in revenue, and then our expenditures, which were greater than our revenue, at $2.8 million. Our year-to-date for revenue is $39.4 million, and our year-to-date is $24.9 million. And just to note that we are wrapping up the end of the year. We do have tomorrow's the last day to enter POs for the year. So our encumbrances are coming in, and we'll have a better projection. And a reminder that in June, we do have the 3 months of payroll happening. So our fiscal year projected, we project revenue to be $40.2 million and expenditures to be $2 million, and that will give us an ending fund balance of $4.9 million. I wanted to talk a little bit, I brought it up last month about our state school fund. You can see there, I'm not projecting that we'll get much more in the revenue. And that is because of our reconciliation of our 2021-22 state school fund. The number is coming up that we are projected to pay $4 million. And that is not just us, that is also the charter schools. But that offsetting our May revenue, I estimate that we'll get about $600,000 in May for our state school fund payment. Any questions on that?
Is it common for other districts to have that overpayment too?
Yeah, there's a few things that happen. So sometimes that is, last year it did happen a lot. And they also did a big adjustment for this year's state school fund. They're doing a timber adjustment and taking timber out of our local revenue. So that did impact all school districts across the state in local revenue.
Is that permanently or just this year?
It's a law that they actually went in place a while back ago, and they are just now finding that they didn't recognize it.
So they're taking that timber out altogether?
Yes. So we did see an adjustment. It wasn't a huge like last year's, but we did see a small adjustment to this year's state school fund.
For the charter school, I believe if I remember the contract, we pay 10 times over the year, or maybe it's every month. But we have to claw that back from the charter school as well then?
Yeah, so we'll work with them and get their portion of last year's back too. The next one is our pie chart for our general fund by funding source. You can see here that the state source is 62% of our revenue and local services is 19%. And this is a look at last year at this time. Again, the big thing I want to show here is last year we were projecting to add back 173, and this year we're projecting to spend down over 2 million of our in fund balance. This is our budget to actuals report. The blue is the budget, the red is the year to date, and the green is the year to date plus the encumbrance. So for instructional services, we're at 90%. For support services, we're at 91.1%. And then coming in June, we'll do our interfund transfers, so you'll see that happen in other uses. Yes.
Does the encumbrance include that multiple paycheck June?
Yes, it
Okay,
does.
it does. Okay, thank you.
What it doesn't include is every order that went in this last between April 30th and May tomorrow to spend out for the rest of the year. This is our year-to-date by major object. I wanted to take a look a little more at this. You can see here that our total revenues for last year at this time was 35 million, and this year it is 39.3 million. That's an increase of 4.3 million, but that's mostly in the beginning fund balance. So I just wanted to point that out. And our expenditures are 23.6 million, and this year they're at 24.8 million, which is a difference of 1.2 million. So you can see there, without our beginning fund balance, we would be in the deficit. Okay, our year-to-date expenditures by major object, you can see here that our salaries are at 36%, our associated payroll cost is at 20%, and our purchase services are at 39%, which is 94% of our year-to-date expenditures are payroll or contracted cost. Our capital projects, you can see we did receive a CET payment, so we have $132,000 going in, and our expenditures were $38,000. Our year-to-date is $2.8 million, I think. Can't see. And our year-to-date expenditures is $616,000. We're projecting an ending fund balance of $608 at this point, assuming that the turf project is completed and paid. If not, we'll carry that forward into next
That's also assuming that every dollar that was approved to be spent on that project is spent.
Correct, yes. Enrollment. So enrollment for Clackamas River, they're at 415 students, which is down 1 from last month, but up 15 from last year. River Mill is at 440, which is up 3 from last month, but down 17 from last year. Estacada Middle School is at 399, which is down 4 from last month and up or down 11 from last year at this time. And the Estacada High School is at 497, which is down 7 from last month, but up 18 from last year. So we're at 1751, which is 9 down from last month, but still up from last year at this time. Summit Learning, I do not have updated information, so I'm still showing 1,324, which brings the district total to 3,075. And here's our pie chart, and you can see for April, at this time, we are still at our highest. And then this is the budget calendar. We had our first official budget meeting tonight. Do check back with us on our second budget meeting. We will have an updated day and time for that. That's all I have.
All right, questions for Christina? Usually they happen as we go through. There's not usually ones at the end, so. Raising your hand. Did you have a question for yourself? Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Let's move on to item E, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Board of Directors, and a great start to our days. We had the opportunity to open the hood of Estacada School District finances, and just want to thank you all again for your investment and commitment into ensuring each dollar is accounted for and supported in our student learning. So great start to our meeting today. It's an evening of meetings. There are two things I want to just state. First of all, the tennis courts are on our list of things to accomplish over time, and I echo Vice Chair Shibahara's sentiments and the sentiments of a lot of our kids and coaches that we do need to pay attention to our tennis courts. That does need to be something that needs to be a part of our process. Also on May 24th, please, Board of Directors and community members who are in attendance and watching this meeting this evening, on May 24th, the Estacada School District will be, on May 25th, the Estacada School District will be conducting its 90-day improvement cycle rollout, short cycle of improvement. This is for the Estacada School District to hold itself accountable and transparent as we roll out our improvement progress towards our mission, vision, and values of our strategic plan, which was created by our community. It is overseen by the Board of Directors and executed by the Estacada School District employees. And so I am very excited to be able to transparently share with our community how their school district is doing in progress with their strategic plan. On May 25th, it will be in person and streamed live on YouTube. So we want to accommodate any and all of our community to be able to see how their school district is doing. We expect that to go from 8 o'clock a.m. to noon. And it's going to be in the Estacada Middle School auditorium. And so please come on down and take a look at each building, each cost center, and each department as they roll out their data as we together as one team try to execute our strategic plan as a school district. Very excited about that. And then in the June Board of Directors meeting, we will go back to our pillar reports for that meeting just to be able to share again the data publicly and talk about what our next 90 days look like in terms of strategic actions to accomplish those plans. The second thing I want to give the Board of Directors an update on is our contract and collective bargaining negotiations updates. I do want to thank both represented groups, that's the OSEA and the Estacada Education Association, both of whom have been great partners thus far as we have conversations about what a competitive compensation package looks like to recruit and retain our talented employees inside the Estacada School District. Currently, we are working collaboratively together, There is lots of contract language that we have agreed upon and are moving forward with. We are still far apart in a few areas. However, I am optimistic at this point that we can productively work together to create a compensation package that is competitive, meets the needs of our employees, but still remains fiscally responsible to our community and our taxpayers. I do want to thank Chair Rydell, who's been a part of the educators negotiation process. His input and presence on behalf of the board has been valued, and I want to thank you for your time and investment in that. I also want to take a quick moment to thank Chair Rydell and Director Walper, who joined me just this week at City Hall as I had the opportunity to present the state of the school district to the City Council. As we know, Melanie Wagner, has taken the reins to become the next city manager for the Estacada School District. The city of Estacada, the Estacada School District, is in strong support of Melanie Wagner, and we believe that she and the City Council are going to be great partners as we work together to build a thriving community. And so thank you so much for being a part of that, and again, representing our board team on that. To conclude, I'd like to celebrate a win, if I could have someone approach, or maybe I can just hit this button, but to echo Director Johnston in celebrating our varsity softball team. I've been employed and a member of the Estacada School District now for 12 years. At one of those points, I was the head baseball coach and a partner with the softball program for 5 of those 12 years here. And to date, I'm fairly confident that what we're seeing in the Estacada softball program is the greatest season in Estacada School District's history when it comes to our softball program. And on behalf of the Estacada School District, I just want to echo publicly how proud we are of this group, how much adversity they've had to overcome if they've tried to establish a competitive program, not only inside the Estacada community, but also in our conference and throughout the state of Oregon. And I'd like to celebrate their success by a short 2-minute video that our video department created to honor and celebrate their success this year. So if the board would allow.
This season has just been like probably the best anyone could ask for. Especially as a senior, this season is the great one.
It's been pretty monumental for us. I mean, really, we never have been this good.
Playing for the school this year is good because the whole team, we all connected really good. We're all good friends. We talk good. We all have a good relationship, and everyone on this team is a good player.
I think we all have a lot of talent, and we all just put it together, and we're all pretty friendly on the field, on and off the field. And I just think we finally clicked and know we're good, and we know what we can do.
I think that we finally all just realized what we're capable of. Obviously, with the help of our coaching, our coaching staff is probably the best coaching staff I've ever seen. So I think that's a big part of it.
I think it's a combination of talent, and a lot of us are putting in a lot of work, a lot of extra time. We're all trying to do the best for each other.
It feels great because other sports we've kind of had not so good results, so it feels really good for us to just be able to win.
If we can keep our energy up, I think that we're just going to keep winning.
And so anyways, I'd just like to, on behalf of our team, say congratulations to our softball program. We're very proud of them, and we wish them the best of luck in one of their first playoff experiences in program history. Again, just an example of great things that are happening inside the Estacada School District. And I want to say congratulations to Coach Mike Clark and his staff as they have worked tirelessly to build this program. So with that said, that is your superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Any questions? All right, so on to item F, reports and presentations. Principal Amy Hudson for end-of-year activities at the high school. Come on down.
Great to be able to talk about the class of 22. As Director Berman mentioned, we just completed probably one of our first. We tried something new this year with our incoming freshmen, and so we just hosted a class of 2026 evening where families and students came to just kind of see the high school, get a little bit of information. We tried not to fire hose them with graduation credits and freshmen on track information, but also really wanting to make sure that we're starting off with this class in a real culture of co-ownership between high school staff, students, and families. And so it was extremely well attended. We don't have final numbers yet, but we were all blown away. We actually had I had actually reached out to several current high school students, grades 9 through 12. Thank you, Director Berman, for a little bit of pressure on getting some of them here. But I had been reaching out over the last week to try to have students come because we really just wanted our current students to really be the ambassadors and the voices of what Estacada High School is about. And there were a lot more than we anticipated, even of our current high school students. So they were excited to share the clubs and athletics and just their experiences that they're having with the newest Rangers. So it was a really, really well-attended, positive evening. And so they actually also got to forecast. And so I think that was a good carrot to dangle, and we fed them. But and for me personally, of course, I have that unique opportunity of our incoming freshmen. A lot of them I had in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade at Clackamas River. So to be able to now start a new chapter with them is really exciting for most of them. Some of them aren't super excited. All right, but oh gosh, I just started that video again. Did not mean to do that, although it was a great
We can watch it again.
and really exciting.
Escape.
All right, but we are here to talk about the class of 2022. Hopefully I'm doing this correctly and not going to completely mess it up. So as Maggie kind of alluded to, we are deep into our graduation planning as it is 30 days out today. So calendar days, not school days. We don't talk about school days yet. That's a little too overwhelming. But I wanted to share with you, just as we are really gearing up for kind of a celebratory time to celebrate our class of 2022. Weather seems to also be a theme tonight. So this coming Thursday, we're hoping to take our traditional senior panoramic and 22 picture, weather dependent. Right now, I looked at the forecast, it's possible. So that'll kind of kick off our first senior event. Also, counselors and myself are pushing into English 12 senior English classes over the next few days just to be able to talk to students directly about graduation, exactly this information, to make sure that we've been sending it out, but just that way we can also help answer questions that may arise. So we've got obviously our senior week of finals and those last days coming up very quickly. Our senior last day is June 3rd. Last year we started a new process at the high school, at least I believe it's new, a senior clearance process to ensure that all of the kind of the end of year nuts and bolts are completed in a systematic way. And so those dates, so seniors will be done on that Friday the 3rd, then they will have the opportunity to come back in Monday and Tuesday that following week, the 6th and 7th, to do their senior clearance. So they're just making sure they're checking out with all of their teachers, making sure that materials are returned, all of those types of things, that we have their most updated address, etc. And then they'll also be doing their cap and gown distribution through that process as well. So then the 8th is a baccalaureate event at First Baptist Church. That's an optional graduation activity. On the 9th, our Booster Club will be hosting a senior breakfast. And so we're really looking forward to partnering with them. And then our traditional grad walk will be on June 9th. Let's see. That's a Thursday. So then June 10th, the Friday, is our end of year recognition assembly. Last year, we had combined what had traditionally been like a student of the year as well as our senior recognition assembly, or the plan is to do that again this year. We will be hosting it in the auditorium, as facilities that hold large groups of students is a little difficult to come by right now, but we're going to make it work. And so that will be an event that will be open to all senior families to attend in addition, and we'll be reaching out to families of award recipients throughout the process, as well as the end of year awards per department for students of the year. Following that day, we are going to be partnering with our school board to provide our seniors with a nice meal to celebrate their accomplishments, and then mandatory graduation practice that will be not in the gym. Well, it will be in the auxiliary gym. And we'll also, by that point, have graduation pseudo set up, so we will also be practicing on our graduation location, which is the athletic complex behind the high school. We are really fortunate we were able to acquire plenty of seating, so I think actually the seating that we're bringing in will actually surpass the stadium capacity. So we're not going to have a limit on how many family members can come and celebrate with our graduates. And so that will be, the big setup will start for that on Thursday and continue all the way through Saturday at 7 o'clock, I'm sure. So mandatory graduation practice, and our booster club, again, will be there to support our students and send them off with some goodies and things like that. Then Saturday, June 11th, graduation, 7 o'clock. As I said, the athletic complex behind, we are well prepared, I think, at this point. We've got seating. We've got arrangements to work with our National Honor Society for ushers and ADA accommodations. As Maggie mentioned, we've got we're bringing in the same sound and production company that worked with us last year. And so they've already been out. We've already done a site visit and a walkthrough with them. And then our fireworks, which seems to be a new tradition, fireworks display about 9:30 on that same night. So really looking forward to just being able to have all of these great events. It's going to be a crazy busy time, but exciting. And we do have prom this weekend on Saturday, our junior and senior prom. So it's at the Airy at Eagle Landing, 7:30. If anyone is bored on Saturday night and wants something to do, you can come chaperone. But looking forward to that event as well. We have currently about 150 students that have bought tickets to participate. Questions? Wonderings?
What class total for this?
We're right about 107 for our graduating class, including our exchange students. It's a smaller class.
Smaller. I was going to say, yeah, that's a bit smaller.
Our junior and senior, current junior and senior class are a little smaller.
This is kind of the tail end of that small group that's been coming through really since, this is the group where we closed River Mill or closed Eagle Creek and brought them in due to size.
Yeah.
And so it's going to start rising
Our
from
freshman
there.
class is 143.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and incoming is 125, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Amy?
Questions? Saturday night, prom.
Already got somebody going to be there.
I know.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, on to G, discussion, we have none. On to H, hearing of citizens for action items. We have none. On to I, action items. The consent agenda includes a package of one or more items to be voted on as a unit. However, if any board member is not in favor of one or more agenda items and prefers to take separate action or request to the chair anytime prior to the vote, we'll remove that item for a separate vote. So we have the consent agenda there.
Chair Rydell, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just the second reading of the same policies.
Yep. Which I do want to call out that we, and I don't know if it's required, but I appreciate that we do a second reading of all policies so that it gives us a lot of time to go through it. So I think that's good for the public to also understand as well that it's not just it shows up, we vote, we move on. It is a required double vote to get through so that we can take the time. So, all right, so it's been moved and seconded. Minor discussion had. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
All right, on to J, hearing of citizens for non-action items. We have none. That takes us to K, adjournment. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you next month.